Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Welcome, dear devotees, those of you who are watching us on the Facebook, which includes Dilip Bhai Patel Prabhu and his lovely wife, Hemlada Mataji, and of course, all of you here, dear Zoom participants. We'll get started. Today's Ekadashi. Happy Ekadashi to all of you. And we will start reading from chapter 14 of Bhagavad Gita. It's
modes of material nature.
It's a modes of material nature. It's a new chapter, and Neil Prabhu, I think, is asking something on chat. Is that right, Neil Prabhu?
Reading order, Mataji.
No, we didn't post the order. You please go ahead.
Sure.
Sutapa and Sukumal Radhe had come first, and of course Vindhyavali Mataji always goes first. Other than that, I don't recall what was the order.
Yeah, so I posted the order, Mataji. If anyone is not able to read, please tell me. So it's Vindhyavali Mataji, Suttapa Mataji, Sukomal Radhe Mataji, Varshana Mataji, Simi Mataji, Garima Mataji, and Sonia Mataji. And last, again, Vindhyavali Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Who is the last person?
Sonia Mataji.
Sonia Mataji. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Prabhu, for creating that.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Aruni Mataji, I just saw you. Are you able to read?
No, sorry, I can't read today.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. I think the order remains same.
And welcome Vidyavadi Devi Dasi Mataji watching us here on Facebook. And
Chapter 14, the three modes of material nature. Text 1. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said again, I shall declare to you this supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained the supreme perfection. Text 2. By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature like my own. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation or disturbed at the time of dissolution. Hare Krishna, Suttapa Mataji.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Shraddha Mataji, will you please increase the front page a little bit bigger?
Yeah, I'm just going to increase that.
Mr. Srila Prabhupada, I forgot to say.
Now, who's going to come and tell me to reduce the font later on?
Nobody.
And who will laugh and move it a little down?
I won't say.
Right.
Thank you, Mataji. Text 3. The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that are impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings, O son of Bharata. Text 4. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. Hare Krishna. Shukumal Radhe Mataji.
Yeah, thank you. Text 5. Material nature consists of three modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the eternal living entity comes in contact with nature, O mighty armed Arjuna, he becomes conditioned by these modes. Text 6. O sinless one, the mode of goodness, being purer than the others, is illuminating, and it frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode become conditioned by a sense of happiness and knowledge. Varshana Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Text 7. The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings. O son of Kunti, and because of this, the embodied living entity is bound to material actions. Text 8. O son of Bharata, know that the mode of darkness born of ignorance is the delusion of all embodied living entities. The results of this mode are madness, indolence, and sleep, which bind the conditioned soul. Hare Krishna. Simi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you. Text 9. O son of Varta, the mode of goodness conditions one to happiness. Passion conditions one to fruitive activities. And ignorance covering one knowledge binds one to madness. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance. O son of Bharata, sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance. But at other times, ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy. Hare Krishna.
The manifestation of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge. Text 12. O chief of the Bharatas, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment, fruitive activity, intense endeavor, and uncontrollable desire and hankering develop.
Text 30. When there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, O son of Guru, darkness, inertia, madness, and illusion are manifested. Text 14. When one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains to pure higher planets of great sages. Hare Krishna. Vindhyavali Mataji.
What happened to Vindhyavali Mataji?
I'm sorry, Mataji. When one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities. And when one dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom. Text 16. The result of pious action is pure and is said to be in the mode of goodness. But action done in the mode of passion results in misery, and action performed in the mode of ignorance results in foolishness. Hare Krishna Sutapa Mataji.
Text 17. From the mode of goodness, real knowledge develops. From the mode of passion, greed develops. And from the mode of ignorance, develop foolishness, madness, and illusion. Text 18. Those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets, and those in the abominable mode of ignorance go down to the hellish worlds. Hare Krishna. Radhe Mataji.
Yeah. Text 19. When one properly sees that in all activities no other performer is at work than these modes of nature, and he knows the Supreme Lord, who is transcendental to all these modes, he attains my spiritual nature. Text 20. When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes associated with the material body, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distresses, and can enjoy nectar even in this life. Vashana Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Text 21. Arjuna inquired, O my dear Lord, by which symptom is one known who is a transcendental to these three modes? What is his behavior and how does he transcend the modes of nature? Shri Bhagwan Uvacha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O son of Pandu, he who does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion, when they are present or long for them when they disappear, who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of material qualities, remaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are active, who is situated in self and regards alike happiness and distress, who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye, who is equal towards the desirable and the undesirable, who is steady, situated equally well in praise and blame, honor and dishonor, who is equally who is situated equally well in praise and blame, honor and dishonor, who treats alike both friends and enemy, and who has renounced all material activities. Such a person is said to have transcendental modes of nature. Hare Krishna.
It's very good.
Simi Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Text 26. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. And I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So I will take a few reflections and then go into Bhagavad Gita. Today's Thursday. So just be cognizant of that fact and let's get going. Okay. Let's see.
It's a very nice chapter, Shraddha Mataji.
Better than 13, huh?
Easier to understand.
Yeah, but Mataji means, I don't know, sometimes I would like to know means every step means what are the mode of goodness, what are the mode of passions, and what are the mode of ignorance, because there are very small work in the world means we every day we encounter with. So, and unknowing maybe we are doing some sin or something, but it's very difficult to tell all.
Yeah, the list is endless. Yeah, list is endless. Like plastic is mode of ignorance. You can go and get, your mind can get boggled by all that. Colors are also in the different modes. Food items are in different modes. Places are in different modes. Like that. So best thing to remember is that when you do devotional service, then you are in the transcendental mode. Then you don't have to bother about any of the lower modes like that. So that's where we should focus that. And in Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a verse that says, Parthivad Tharuno Dhumas Tasmat Agni Traimaya Tamastastu Rajas Tasmat Sattvam Yad Brahma Darshanam. So it's talking about the various graduations of these modes of material nature. So it says just as Parthiva Daruno Dhumas, just as smoke is better than wood, because wood is there's a potency to burn, but then if smoke is there, then it's a little bit more evident that there's some fire going on, and of course the best is the fire. So so similarly, it says that best is the fire. Similarly, he says, Parthivat Darunodhumas Tasmad Agni Taimaya Tamas Tastu Rajas Tasmad. Similarly, better than tamas is rajas and better than rajas is sattvam. Because when you reach the mode of sattvam, then from there you can do Brahma Darshanam. From there, you have to go to that higher level and then you transcend and go into the transcendental mode. So devotional service takes you straight. The moment you start doing devotional service, then you go into the transcendental mode. And so it is interesting and amazing that, even during the day, especially like when you are chanting the names of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So just that act, that and then the words that are coming out of your mouth, those words are transcendental. So, it's difficult for anybody who's just hearing the sound without understanding the deeper meaning of those sounds to decipher and say, well, this is just a mundane sound. So, so even in this, while you are in this material body, hayasya haridar se karmana mansagira niklav apyavastatum jivan mukta uchyate. The one who is here in this material world and spends his mind, body, energy, words, etc., in glorifying the Lord, then even though he's here in this material world, he's still jivan mukta. He's still released from the clutches of Maya. To others might just think that he's suffering and and might feel pity on him and things like that, but internally he doesn't suffer, although his body, anything can get to the body. And the classic example of that is His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, right? He's so much into distributing Krishna consciousness, and from outside we might think like this and that, but internally it doesn't affect, because they are at a higher level of consciousness. like that. So anything else?
Sometimes it really amazes me, Mataji, about His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj, that even in this condition, he is ready to give the lectures and speak about Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. And you see, he's so enthusiastic. How can be so enthusiastic in this condition also? That is really, really admirable, Mataji.
Yes. Yes. And that is when you are freed from the clutches of Maya. It doesn't matter then which body you are, where you are, whether you're inside the body, outside the body. The body doesn't have the body has no control of them, over them. The senses actually become like, when like a poisonous snake. If you remove the poison fangs, then the snake is useless, right? Can't do much. So similarly, senses also become like snakes or serpents whose poison glands have been removed from them, like that.
Very nice.
Yeah,
very good example you gave.
Yeah, actually, yeah. The same senses that give us so much of trouble, the same senses start helping us. The same senses the same mind that gave us so much of trouble, the same mind starts to, help us and becomes our friend. Right? Like that. Atmeva Ripur, right? So Atma is or mind is your enemy, and Atma is also Bandhava. It's also your friend. In 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita says that. So all those transformations will happen by doing devotional service. Om Agyana Timrandasya Gyananjan Salakaya Chakchurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. So Om Agyana, right? So Agyana Timrandasya, darkness of ignorance. Right? From there, the spiritual master takes you to a higher level of consciousness and helps you transcend, material world. Like that. Good. Any other reflections?
So, Mataji, it is mentioned that mode of goodness people goes to the heavenly planets where sages live. So, sages means devotees, right? Pure devotees of the Lord. So, they go to, so they also are getting a good, better place. Is it that inference?
Yeah, so I just wanted to mention that in the verse that is there in the Bhagavad Gita that you were quoting from, it doesn't say heavenly planets. It says higher planets, right?
Upward to the higher planets.
Yes, there's a difference between higher planets and heavenly planets. Of course, heavenly planets, now here's the interesting thing, that heavenly planets, there are 2 types of heavenly planets, right? And one type of heavenly planets are above us in God consciousness. That is, those people have a little more God consciousness than we have. And they go to that higher level of consciousness, and they live in certain set of planets. So that those are heavenly planets. They have got lots of facilities to enjoy. But as they're enjoying those facilities, they do not forget about Krishna. God, right? For example, we are all living here in America, which is like a heaven, and compared to some of the other countries, and then here in the heavenly planets, we are enjoying definitely some benefits. Or you could be anywhere in a nice city, nice home, you could be enjoying the benefits. But as long as you connect them with Krishna, and if you connect them with Krishna, you are in a heavenly planet, even here, right? Because the consciousness is like that. So these heavenly planets are, the good heavenly planets are also distributed. There are many. And the key point to remember in the upper planetary systems, the upper heavenly planetary systems, is that the God consciousness is there. Okay? Similarly, there are planets which are lower than us, like Patal Lok and all that. There is a lot of opulence. It's like you have entered into Las Vegas, right? There's so much of opulence once you get inside a casino. So it's like that. And even the sun doesn't reach there. So people are very opulent, but they enjoy a lot. Actually, they don't even think about death. Death comes to them, nevertheless. Definitely, it comes to them, but they don't think about that. They're just busy enjoying. But their enjoyment is without the consciousness of God, right? So there are 7 planetary systems below us, and there are a couple above us, which are the heavenly planets. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha, right? And then on top of that, there are even higher planetary systems, and that is where the devotees are there. So some devotees will go to those planetary systems where there are ample opportunities for them to pursue devotional service, right over there. In some of the planets, they won't even eat the food because they're just concentrating on Krishna. And so not eating food means they're not enjoying things, but they have gotten a much more better facility to pursue devotional service. So here what they're saying is that they are gradually, those who are in the mode of goodness, they will gradually rise to the higher planetary system. So which means that if you are from here in the earth, you could go to the heavenly planets, but if you maintain your sanity in the heavenly planets and still remember Krishna and pursue devotional service there in the heavenly planets, then you can go to an even higher planet from there, right? And all the way from there, you can go back to Godhead. So there are various paths from which you can make an exit from this material world. So keep in mind, they are talking about higher planets, not necessarily heavenly planets.
So if we don't do God in heavenly planets, and if we don't do the devotional service, means God chanting or anything, then we have the chance of falling down. Is that right?
Yes, you know the answer. Tell me. You know the words. I know that. Right? Right or right?
Yeah.
Okay, give it to us. You know a few words from there, right? Shine. Shine Purne. Marte Lokam Vishanti. Right? So when the pious credits are exhausted, then they will come back. So it's like, you are given a lot of money and you said, okay, now you go and live in that land. So now you have two choices. You don't do anything in the land, you exhaust all your money, then what are you supposed to do? They'll say, they'll kick you out. And then if you go and then earn some more money in there, then you can go to the next higher plan. That's how it is. As with money, it's like that with pious credits also. But what you really need is devotional credits. Varshana Mataji, are you trying to raise your hand?
Yes, Mataji, there was some thing came to my mind. A person living in a small little hut where he hardly has any opulence. Nothing. Actually, there is nothing to be called opulence. But he is very happy, very content. For him, that is a heavenly planet. Actually, he is very happy. He's remembering Krishna, and he's just meditating on him. So, Mataji, isn't that can we call that also as a heavenly planet for him? Because he is only no. Okay.
No, because he's in a transcendental plane. Right? If you're sitting there, he has no desires, he's satisfied, and he's just chanting Krishna and doing devotional service to Krishna, he's on a transcendental level. He's not, heaven means material enjoyment, majorly.
Okay, then that is on the higher stage. That is a transcendental, higher than that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Meera.
So, transcendental is much better than heavenly. We are trying to be transcendental.
Yeah, transcendent means to cross. So transcendental means when you cross this material world, this Bhav Sagar, right, and go to the alokik, transcendental, the spiritual world. So spiritual world is called transcendental, and it is always better. So then now in the material world there are 4 problems. What are the 4 problems? Can anybody tell, Meera Mataji, what are the 4 problems of this material world?
Birth, death, disease,
and
old age.
Right? So all 4 of them do not exist in the transcendental planets.
Oh.
In the transcendental world, right? In the heavenly planet, they are there. All the way up to Abrahma Bhuvana Loka. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita chapter 8 that from here all the way up to Brahma's Puri, which is right on the top of the universe, everywhere there is birth and death, old age and disease.
Yeah, here in this 19th text, he says, when one properly sees that all sees that in all activities no other performance is at work, then does modes of nature, and he knows the Supreme Lord, who is transcendental to all these modes, he attains my spiritual nature. Yeah,
Nature.
he's saying
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you understand that, whatever is happening, prakriti kriya manani guna karmani sarvasa ahankara vimudatma karta hamiti manyate. So all these things happen by according to the modes of material nature, they will happen, right? And but the soul thinks that I am doing it. But then in 18th chapter, Krishna will emphasize, will elaborate more on that and talk about the 5 factors of action, right? So soul desires, and the rest of the things are done by the body and by the permission of the soul, super soul, like that. Okay, so let's go and read from chapter 12, and I'm pretty sure you'll have more there. And I don't even know whether whose turn is it to read.
Garima Mataji.
All right, welcome Neela Mataji, Vijayalakshmi Nair Mataji, Saubhagya Mataji, and Swati Mataji. So happy to have you on the call. So whose is it? Sorry.
My chance, Mataji.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm reading.
All right. Read from chapter 12, 18, 19.
Samashatru cha mitra cha tatha mana
Man,
tatha
man,
man
apaman.
apman yo sutoshna sukha dukkeshu samasanga vivarjita tulya ninda stutirmoni santushto yena kenachit aniketa sthiramatir bhaktiman me priyo nara.
Very nice. So this is a dual, there are 2 verses over there. We might not be able to complete it today, and that's fine. If we can, then we'll continue on Sunday morning. Okay? Because we'll be having our Bhakti Bricks on Saturday and Srimad Bhagavatam class tomorrow on Friday. So we will do that accordingly. Okay? Now, whose turn is it?
Sonia Mataji.
Sonia is going to read? Okay, fantastic.
Synonyms. Samaha equal Satru to an enemy, Cha also Mitre to a friend, Cha also Tatha so, Manaha in honor, Apmanaha yo and dishonor, Sita in cold, Usna heat, Sukha happiness, Dukheshu and distress, Samaha equipoise, Sangha viva Arjitaha, free from all association, Tulya equal Ninda, in defamation, Stutihi and repute, Moni silent, Santushtaha, satisfied, Yena Kenachit, with anything, Aniketaha, having no residence, Shriya fixed, Matiha determination, Bhaktiman engaged in devotion, me to me, Priyaha dear, Naraha a man. Hare Krishna. It's Vindhyavali Mataji.
Translation: one who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equipoised in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, who is always free from contaminating association, always silent and satisfied with anything, who doesn't care for any residence, who is fixed in knowledge, and who is engaged in devotional service. Such a person is very dear to me. Suttapa Mataji.
Thank you. Meera Mataji, can you read?
No, she said.
Oh, okay. But a devotee is always free from all bad association. Sometimes one is praised and sometimes one is defamed. That is the nature of human society. But a devotee is always transcendental to artificial fame and infamy, distress or happiness. He is very patient. He does not speak of anything but the topics about Krishna. Therefore, he is called silent. Silent does not mean that one should not speak. silent means that one should not speak nonsense. One should speak only of essentials, and the most essential speech for the devotee is to speak for the sake of Supreme Lord. A devotee is happy in all conditions. Sometimes he may get very palatable foodstuffs, sometimes not, but he is satisfied, nor does he care for any residential facility. Shukumar Radha Mataji, you can read.
Oh, okay. Thank you. He may sometimes live underneath a tree, and he may sometimes live in a very palatial building. He is attracted to neither. He is called fixed because he is fixed in his determination and knowledge. We may find some repetition in the descriptions of the qualifications of a devotee, but this is just to emphasize the fact that a devotee must acquire all these qualifications. Without good qualifications, one cannot be a pure devotee. Harav abhakshatasya kuto mahad gunaha. One who is not a devotee has no good qualification. One who wants to be recognized as a devotee should develop the good qualifications. Of course, he does not extraneously endeavor to acquire these qualifications, but engagement in Krishna consciousness and devotional service automatically helps him develop them. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so we have plenty of time to start a discussion. This is a pretty loaded verse, right? A lot of things Prabhupada said. And do we remember some of the things? Should I bring up the verse again? Okay, bringing up the verse again. I'm hearing some conversations from background, from some background. If you can switch yourself, if you're not speaking.
Mataji, I liked that line very much, that silent does not mean that you should not speak, but you should not speak nonsense. And another one, that good qualifications means one has to be, without good qualifications, one cannot be a pure devotee. The silent one, I remember that you have discussed that previously, that
Red bear.
Moni.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Varshana Mataji.
Mataji, I really like the point here. Of course, the one Sutapa Mataji said, and I like that also. And the second is, one who wants to be recognized as a devotee should develop a good qualification. In one of the lectures, you see, I heard this, and I said a devotee should always be on alert, in the sense that he is wearing a tulsi mala, he has a tilak on the head, on the forehead, and he is misbehaving. That means he is insulting the institution. He should be very careful when he is behaving with others, because he is setting an example for others. So it is very important for the devotee to be always on caution, and he should behave well and develop good qualities in himself to be recognized as a devotee. Hare Krishna.
I really like your comment, especially about being cautious, and especially about being cautious on Facebook broadcast. Right? That's why when I start the broadcast, I'm always telling you, like, be careful, we're broadcasting, because you very rightly said you're representing the institution. And if somebody comes after you and listens on Facebook to the recording, and if it's all full of banter in the beginning with no seriousness, right? You are projecting your institution like that. You have to, yeah. So go back and listen to some of the older recordings. They're very serious. And this is the serious time of the day for us to, seriously think. So very good point, Mataji. Yeah. the decorum of the discussion, has to be maintained. And Shruti Priya, what do you have to say? Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for joining.
I'm just glad to see you all.
See you all. Yes, looking at devotees is always a pleasure. Yeah, so satatha, what is that verse? Sama shatrau cha mitre cha tatha man apman yoho. So let's look at man and apman. So what is apman?
Insult, defaming, being insulted.
Yeah, not being shown proper respect according to what I thought was my entitlement, right? So imagine, I was just thinking about Vaisheshika Prabhu once on his Vyas Puja, Guruma read her offering to him. And I was shocked because he's usually humble and he doesn't talk much about his, good qualities, so to speak. And so Guruma was saying that as a young boy, and when he was distributing books in the airports and at various places here in USA, he used to be kicked, beaten up, and spat upon. Can you imagine somebody spits on you, right? And because he was distributing books, because he was spreading Krishna consciousness, which the other parties did not like. And so this is apman. And it is very natural for people to get this kind of apman when they are trying to preach into a, not very congenial public. And, but the devotees, they will persist. They will persist because their aim is one, to spread Krishna consciousness. So these small obstacles that will come into their way, somebody spat at you, somebody asks you questions in a, with a very malignant intent, just to make sure that you fall down and you don't have an answer. And then you say, sorry, I don't have an answer. And they're like, aha, I got you. Like that. So this is insult, right? But they will not take that insult. A devotee will not take that insult, right? So the person who's insulting might feel very happy they're victorious and things like that. But they don't take it. Why? Because they are sama shatra cha mitra cha. They're equal to friends and enemies. So if somebody is behaving to them in a bad way, right? Not giving man, but instead, okay, fine, not giving due respect is one thing, but then to not give, but then to like it's like karela kadwa, upar se neem chada, right? To take the karela and then add some neem leaves on top of it. Like it was bad enough you didn't give me respect. Now you are disrespecting me. So it makes it even more. It makes it even more intolerable, right? But as you progress in devotional service, and the reason, what is the root cause for all these things that he has mentioned, has been mentioning since verse number 12 of this. And let me just quickly bring up that in the other mode, other style of reading, and just quickly look at what Krishna is telling from 13 verse where he's starting to describe. So give me some keywords, okay? Keywords only, no long paragraphs of explanation, no long sentences. I'm just looking at keywords that describe a devotee, right?
Not envious, but is kind.
Okay, not envious, kind. Okay, so let's take at the not envious. Okay, I'm going to keep the non-envious. Okay, now give me some more.
Tolerant.
Tolerant, okay. So not envious, tolerant, and I'm going to write them down. So as soon as I find a pen, okay. Non-envious, tolerant.
Self-control. From false ego.
Free from false ego, okay.
Self-control.
Self-controlled, okay.
Always satisfied.
Always satisfied.
Equipoised in happiness and distress.
So you're equipoised in happiness and distress, okay.
Neither rejoices nor grieves.
Okay, very good. Does not rejoice nor grieve.
Fame and infamy. Eh?
What happens in fame and infamy?
It's always in,
equipoised.
Equipoised, okay, in fame and infamy. I once remember when I was growing up, there was some, you know how in the newspapers every now and then you get these stories about embezzlement, and such person, very famous, was caught embezzling money and things like that. So there was this person who was caught embezzling, and he was the head of a very big company in Japan. And of course, there was going to be court orders, etc., against him. And then, you know, within a few days, we heard that he committed suicide. Not equipoised in fame and infamy. Right? That's an example of, you know, how you cannot be equipoised in fame and infamy. Okay, anything else? From 18, anything else comes to your mind? Qualities of a devotee?
Equal to friends and enemies,
Equal
heat and cold.
Okay, friends and enemy. And then heat and cold, okay. Sheet and ushna, right? Okay.
Yes.
Always silent and
silent and satisfied with anything.
Silent, he's satisfied. Okay.
Satisfied with everything.
Satisfied. Okay. So let's look at some of these.
Doesn't care about any residence.
Okay, doesn't care about
any residence.
Any resident. Okay.
Mataji, and I don't know whether it will be counted like engage themselves with faith, means a devotee should have with the means all time be engaged.
Okay, right. So now let's look at these words. Okay, I'm going to repeat from what you have told. Tolerance. Okay. Not envious. All right. And then equipoised in honor and dishonor. Okay. So let's look at these again. Tolerant, not envious. Equipoised in honor and dishonor. Now these things, is it some, these situations in which a person will exhibit these qualities, does it involve just one person or more than one? Tolerant, equipoised in fame and infamy, equal to friends and enemy. Is it one person only?
More than one. I know.
More than one.
More
exactly.
than one.
Right? So because tolerance means somebody has to instigate you, right? And then you will be tolerant, right? And envious, somebody else has got to be there, and then that envy thing. So it's a two thing, right? Two people will be there. Okay. Now let us see. Is not bothered about heat and the cold. Free from false ego. Now, heat and cold. Why does the soul suffer from heat and cold? What is the problem there?
Because of the touch, the senses.
Okay. But why does the soul have to suffer if the senses are touching anything?
Mataji, it is the body which suffers. It is the soul.
The soul suffers.
No senses only.
The soul suffers. The soul suffers. Body is dead. The soul always suffers. Yeah. Yeah. See, matter has no feelings. A chair never suffers. You can go and kick a chair. It won't suffer.
Correct.
Right? So keep that in mind. All the feelings are there in the soul. Souls are sentient, right? We talked about that last lecture.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah. Right? You got it? So, heat and cold. Why is the soul suffering from? Why does the soul suffer from heat and cold? What is that flaw in its understanding?
Mataji thinks it's the body.
Thinks it's the body. Exactly right. See, that is the cause. That because I think I'm the body, so then I suffer from heat and I suffer from cold. Like your chair never, you never see a chair shivering, whether it is heat or cold. There's no soul inside there to feel and then that express those feelings to the senses again. So the soul will gather information from the senses and think that I am the senses and then react to that, and the senses will again exhibit that behavior, right? Your teeth will start chattering if there is something cold there, like that. So always remember, so all these things that are happening, all these qualities that Krishna is now um, you know telling you, that if you control the bad ones and inculcate the good ones and expand on the good ones, then you become very dear to me. And you notice that most of the things that he's saying you avoid, right? It just leads you back to that. If I can get out of that consciousness that I am this body, then half of the problem will go away. For example, insult. Who can insult your soul? Can I insult any one of your soul?
Because it's in the body, that's why.
I can come and say your nose is crooked, I don't like your eyes, what's done with the hair, who gave you this haircut. I can talk all that, but I can't tell and say, your soul, I think, has put on some weight. I can never say that, right? So keep that in mind, that nobody can touch you. And this is what Krishna is constantly telling Arjuna from chapter 2. When he's saying, I will kill my grandfather. He's saying, we can't kill the grandfather. Number one, grandfather's body is already dead because it's made of material substance, and which just doesn't have life. So he's already dead. And if you think that, you're still killing the body, that's fine, but you can't kill your grandfather, the soul, right? So Krishna gives such a nice formula. It's such a peaceful formula, because, people are afraid of death. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? But if we then mentally make up our mind that, it's nothing, I'm just leaving this body and going somewhere else. Like, as you can move from one apartment to another apartment, from an apartment to a home, right? Like that, from a home to a mansion, from a mansion to a palace, you can move like that without any problem. Similarly, the soul also moves from here and there and forgets about the old one. But what makes it so difficult is, one, that I think I am this. So I think that, something's going to happen to this body. Nothing's going to happen to the body. It's already dead in that sense, right? The soul will just walk out. And 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, we read that. Utkramantam sthitham vapi, bhunjanam va gunanvitam. So it said utkramantam sthitham. Utkramantam means stepping out of the body, or sthitham, getting into the body as an embryo, inside the embryo, right? Vimuda nanu paschanti jnana chakshusha. So those who are foolish, they do not see this. But those who are intelligent, they can see this happening. Right? They see that, okay, this is what is happening. This is what is happening, right? He understands that philosophically inside. Now, of course, we all are not perfectly pure. We are not all perfect devotees of the Lord. So we still have some lots, actually, in my case, of attachments, right? And so the emotions will start bubbling up again when that happens. So everything is, tied to us thinking that we are the body. We are the body. We are the body. And then Krishna is saying that, you get into this concept that I'm not the body. And at the moment you get into that concept, you're not the body, and then you start applying all these good qualities and inculcating all these good qualities, it'll require some practice. But he says that, ativ me priyaha. In the last verse, he says, not just priya. On all the other verses, he says, bhaktiman me priyo, yomad bhakta same priyaha. He'll be saying like priya, priya, priya. But in the last verse of Bhagavad Gita, he says, ativ me priya. Ativ means very dear, not just dear. And who's very dear? That one who listens to all these above. You follow all these other things, then you get really, 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 really dear. And it's a practice. All this is a practice that you will do. And through practice, you will get it. No other way, no other way, no other way. Other than, you get a lottery. Like if you want to earn money, then you can work hard and earn money, or you can win the lottery, right? There are two ways to get rich. Lottery can come in the form of you winning a lottery, or some relative in some strange land, that you didn't even know dies and, leaves all his $1 million to you. That's one way of getting rich. Other ways, you get a good job and you save your money and you get rich, like that. So there's always this windfall effect is always there, or the chance of getting a windfall is always there. And same happens in the bhakti also, that you could get the mercy of a pure devotee of the Lord. One could be the most fallen creature on this world, but if you get the mercy of a pure devotee of the Lord, then you will become a devotee very, very quickly. Very, very quickly. So that option is always there. So while we are all practicing, we are also hoping and begging for mercy of Krishna and mercy of the devotees that, please have your merciful glance on us. And when you have your glance, the Kripa Drishti falls on us, then the transformation is, quite quick. It happens like that.
Mataji, this one, he is saying that these qualities, whoever has that is a person very dear to him. But the other this one I saw in 14th chapter, 14th chapter, the text when this one we read, like that one all says in all the three modes only, modes of nature, material nature, they're saying. So same thing he was telling that, here also, who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of material qualities remaining, and who is situated in the self and regards happiness and distress, who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone, and a piece of gold. So all those things, he's telling the material modes here. And here in 12th chapter, he's saying, for all these things, qualifications we have, that person is dear to me.
There you go. Very nice connection. Yes, exactly.
So there is something, yeah.
Like I was saying the other day that if somebody gets angry at us, right, and instead of thinking of how we can react to that, or reacting without even us knowing that we reacted, right, something comes at us, they give it back real quickly. And so instead of doing that, and instead of thinking badly about that person, we can also have a compassion on them, like, what is this person, what could this person possibly be going through to behave in such an obnoxious manner, like that, you see? So that is what, when you start thinking like that, then you become sama shatra cha mitre. Mitra is very easy. Mitra gives you happiness, right? You see like a haribol, like that, right? You see a mitra. But when you see a shatru, right, somebody inimical to you, towards you, then how do you react? So that compassion has to be formed within the heart. That thing has to come in, right? So let's practice that. Let's practice, and you can practice that by journaling it down, writing down a journal. And I don't want you to write things elaborately in the journal, but you can just put a 1 mark there every time you are able to tolerate and able to look at things from other person's perspective, like that. And you never know why some people sometimes behave like that, right? Even in the school, right? It happens like that. Right? Some kids are, I think Sukomal Radhe Mataji can tell us if she's still with us, that sometimes kids show very weird behavior in the school, and they're beating up and they're reacting and things like that. It's the worst kid in the school and he's bad, and right, Sukomal Mataji? And then you dig in, what do you find?
If you tell them something that they don't like to hear, and because you have to, they're doing something wrong. Oh, I hate teachers. I don't like teachers. I don't want to come to school anymore. And then the next time you're doing an art project and they love the art project, they say, oh, I love this art project. You're so good at it, Miss Sonal. So it's like in 1 hour, everything changes, the emotions.
Mataji, she's talking about the kids. When I was working in social service, I used to issue food stamps. So those people, if they don't apply on time, and if they're not in the computer, I have to say you don't get any benefits. They say, no, you go back to your country. They told me, you go back to your country. I said, you buy a ticket for me, I will go. That's what I used to face in the beginning, Mataji. Because I'm from different country. So they thought I am doing something. I said, no, you didn't apply. You're not in the computer, because you need to do on time reapplying, yearly once. They had to do that.
Yeah, but
and they just think that they will get forever.
So to come to the point, to come to the point is that now you can look at the same thing in a different manner. Just ignore the fact that it's okay to go back to your country. See what a miserable life it is to be living on food.
That's true. That's true.
There you go. That's
what I felt that, and I tried to explain, If you didn't apply, you won't get it.
No,
But
that is not.
they just at the spur of the moment, they didn't get benefits. They want to go to the grocery store and get some things.
Yeah.
And they're desperate. I know that.
Yeah. But to conclude, as a concluding remarks, what I'm saying is that telling them that you didn't apply for the stamps and that's why you didn't get them is not the compassion part of it. Compassion part is to, from inside, it has to come and look at that soul in that body who's suffering. Number one is on stamp. Number two is so lazy, won't apply for them on time. And number three is then is rude on top of that, right? So what could be like? Then you feel compassion for the soul to have that kind of a consciousness, right? And when we do that, we become very dear to Krishna. You can become very dear to Krishna by that or by distributing books. And I can see Suman Mataji has joined the call, which means we are beyond 8 o'clock. So if you want to stay here, you can stay here. She'll give you a big target today. More than welcome. Okay, but anyway, jokes apart, thank you so much for joining us. Those of you
very much,
Thank you, Shraddha Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
here.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, Hare
Vancha
Krishna.
kalpatarabhyasya kripa sindhubhyo vacha.
Pati
Patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo